Hi everybody, it's me with another video about the same series on collecting on a shoestring budget. I decided to do a follow-up to my video on context because this is a video that actually I thought on doing a while ago, but I always kind of like hesitated about it because perhaps of the people might find the work a bit controversial, but I think given the circumstances that is happening in the world today, in the world of geopolitics, I thought it was quite relevant to do it. So this is a work, which is the one here on the background. It's by a Spanish artist called Vinz. It's a street artist based in Valencia. And Vinz normally uses models which are nude figures and gives them some sort of like a personality by using animals. His most common figure is a bird, but he also has frogs and some other animals, which are to denote a particular trait or a stereotype. I think that's the adequate word. The reason I saw this work when I was in Valencia last summer, and I saw them on the streets. And eventually I found the gallery that was representing him. And when I read it, there was something that struck me. And this is something that I have been reading for quite a bit, particularly since the post-internet series. That our perception of freedom is changing. Vinz works, the symbolism of nudity, it denotes that sense of inhibition, that sense of absolute freedom, right? Because it's like absolute transparency, right? You're like in your absolute naked body. There's nothing to hide and everything to expose. And he tried to portray the human beings as they are, right? And he normally has these different figures. You can tell that are men and female across the board to give them that sense of absolute true identity. And with the birds, he's trying to give them that personality, that essential personality that we all have, our core personality. And in a sense, it's about releasing that personality and letting it be free. And the reason I decided to buy it is because I believe that down the road, our freedom, or what we understand for freedom today, will be in about 20 years' time, will be very different. And I think this generation, the one that are perhaps the younger millennials and the Gen Zs, will understand and will have that nostalgic appreciation from the freedom that we once had. And things are changing. Clear rise of authoritarian states is particularly very evident since post-Trump, the presidency, and the rise of very autocratic governments everywhere. And certainly they got amplified with COVID, with the necessity to preserve order. And that led to a lot of misinterpretations or post-truths, let's call it that way. And which I think that quite generational defining, the period that we're going today in this kind of like a rise of authoritarian governments and post-truth is really shaping up a really core understanding of freedom. And there was that sense of freedom pretty much globally, from China to US and between East and West. I think in different ways, people were very comfortable to be between traveling, and the world was very open. And so resembled with the birds, people were like really open to pretty much spread their wings and be freely. And on that context, when I was combining all that, and when I saw the work, and it really hit me quite strongly that Vinz is trying to capture that change in time. The work is a little bit older, but I mean, this change, this transition that we're happening, pretty much started about 6 or 7 years ago, and the work I think is contemporary to that. Vinz has other works where where he's really depicting that struggle with individual freedom. The work in itself is using newspapers and no papers. And for example, this one is the main one is a newspaper that dates back to 1959, and the heading, is a dialogue that was happening at the UN between Moscow and the Western world, right? Pretty much debating the dynamics of Cold War, which were also quite restrictive in terms of freedom. I mean, a very clear example is Latin America, the period that I grew up in the 80s. So, and when you, and looking at other people that are looking at history, analyzing history, for example, Ray Dalio, he does see these patterns repeating over and over and over again. And I think the sense of freedom that people had pretty much during the Cold War was very different than the freedom that people had during the MTV, which I think is MTV, like the 90s. I think MTV in the 90s, I think is the pinnacle of individual freedom, and then everything changes post 9/11. And I think we are now pretty much with COVID, everything is amplified. So I do believe that this work will retain that value, because it really, at least for me, it really touches in that particular, touches that emotion, which is the necessity to be free and the necessity to self-express freely. So yeah, it's as you get, it's a difficult topic to talk, but again, I'm never afraid of collecting works that mean more than just the plain aesthetics, and Vinz for me is a very clear example. I invite you to actually look at his feed and look at his works. He's an interesting artist. He had his fair share of dealing with the police as well, but he's a great guy, and his works are there, are really touching on a generational change. So yeah, so this is it. This is actually one of my latest acquisitions. This is the one probably used on my Instagram feed, shipping it all the way from Spain in a crate, etc. That was quite a fun ride, and I'm really happy. Currently, actually, I'm shooting this thing from my living room. I'm moving outside from a studio now. Is in the living room. The sofa is here, and I think some of you people have seen it. People that have been at home have seen the work. And I'm really proud to have it. It really, every time it wakes me up, it really, this is one of those works that really tell me what it means to be a human being. So yeah, this is Vinz, everybody, and I'm super happy to have it in the collection. Okay, that was a short clip to talk about, to do a volume 2 about context, and I hope you guys like it. And again, feel free to message me, and we can continue this conversation. Okay, cheers. Bye.